Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a great rack. I've got Nodia. Will that play? Well, it will if opponent changes, but if he plays, I'll have a number of floaters to consider as well as whether the 7 can go. Now, does Nodia have an anagram? Well, let me note straight up that Nodia does play in rows G and I. Can I do any better? Yes, I can. I have ordained as a double-double. Pretty good. Not bingo-y, but I have the X and plenty of vowels to get value from it. Box and boxier are both good. Nowhere super hot for the X on this board at the moment. Yamoon only takes an S. Now Zoo is good, so I do have Docs or Dex. I have Dexy. Okay, that will be a half-decent score. And I've also got Box in column 4. But the rack lead from that is quite vowel heavy. Anyway, splendid start, 90-point double-double. Can I keep it going? I was just about to say that I had Ibex in that spot. Let me see what Dexy scores. That's 45, pretty good. Let me put that back, and the rack leave of Rob is okay. But what do I have through this T? Do I have anything which plays the X? Well, not that I can see. And do I have anything parallel to Bahoot? No, or through the U getting the X tripled? No, I don't. Okay, well, I'm going with Dexy for 45. Pretty good. Looks jolly close to a bingo. Through an R, I would have Roborant. But is there a 7 here? Well, not that I can see straight up. Wow, fantastic bingo for opponent. 88 points. I now trail, despite my great start. So, let me consider the floaters. Now, what about this R? Zoo doesn't take anything in front. What about the N? I have the non-prefix. There's the T of trumping. No, just not saying anything. And there's IN. This feels fairly close to a bingo. I would have abortion through an I. No, I'm not seeing any playable bingos. So what about this triple word square in the bottom row? What goes under the I? Well, let me put in double O, see if that sparks any inspiration. Well, I have noob. And that rack leave is pretty good. Can I do any better than this? Well, I think I could if there were a bingo, but I haven't seen it so far, so I'm going with this. Well, very bingo-y tiles, but do I have one? 29 for opponent, so we're fairly close. This is such a tricky rack. Very bingo-y tiles, but duplicates and no E. Very easy to miss a bingo. And the floaters aren't particularly helpful, just an O and an N. But whatever I play, the rack leave is going to be bingo-y. And there's still IN, and there's also ES. Now, that does introduce an E. Not seeing a bingo. What about IN? No. So how to sort this rack out? And it's tricky because they're all 1 point tiles. So I'm playing off good tiles for a very low score. So what about playing saw? Scrapes over 20 points. Can I do any better than that? So I'd like to play off A, O, and S. Is there a spot for that? Noob takes an S. So if I did have a 7-letter play ending S, it certainly would play. Dexy likewise. I think I'm thinking of Satori's, not Satora's. Still 4 A's to come. Do I have any O-S-A-R-E plays? I don't think so. What about playing Sare for 22? Slightly better rack leave. And Sare not good. Now, a couple of other 2-letter sets to look for 9s. There's B-E, not seeing anything there. There's A-D, not seeing anything there. So, do I go for saw, keeping duplicate A? Painful. With a rack this bingo-y, you really want to leave the best possible set of tiles. And that doesn't happen by playing saw. So, what to do? Well, I am going to play saw. I can't get anywhere close to that score with S and A. Okay, well that's fine, because I was not going to bingo with the J. And now I can sort out the duplicate A. And I've drawn another S. I think this happened in my last game, that I had 2 S's, played off one, and drew another. Now, we're still close, just 20 points between us. What can I do with this J? Well, I could play just JA here. 38 points, pretty good. Very good rack leave. Not bothered about the duplicate S. This is a very S-friendly board. The only real danger of playing JA is that I draw 2 consonants, which will limit my bingo prospects, but 38 points is pretty good. I don't see anything through the C. Anywhere else super hot for the J? Gin is good. No, I'm going with this. Wow, fantastic pick. I really only needed to draw one vowel, and I've done that. So I have staters and tasters, both of which play in columns 10 and 11. I have scatters in row A. Opponent likely to be drawn to that spot. And column 11, yeah, better than column 10. And in any event, column 10 blocked, but column 11 better because it gets doubled. So, is there anywhere better than column 11? Column 11's quite good. I get the points doubled, plus I get the points from noob. Just looking under carriole. Ah, well, what about playing staters at the top here? 74 points, and I get all the points from carriole, plus the points doubled from staters. No vowels next to premium squares. I'm going with this. And a pretty grim set, to some extent. Very non-bingo-y. F and V don't go well together. But I have Kofta on my rack, which, should it play, would sort the rack out somewhat. It does play in column 2, but sticking an A next to this triple word square, so I'd like to find something a bit better than that. Row D, Kofta would play through the T of staters. And I have a 70-point lead, but can I hang on to it? Still 28 tiles to come, including both blanks. And this is still a bingo-friendly board. Column 11 available for 7-letter bingos ending in S. Just one S to come, but both blanks. No A's to come. Let me check the remaining vowels. 13 out of 35, so slightly vowel dry. Wow, opponent perhaps signalling that he's got a blank by playing claw and he's blocked my kofta spot. So, what am I going to do? So I have, well, I'm thinking about playing Korf, top right. Don't really like that. It may not be good. Korf ball is good. The problem with my rack is K, F, and V. So is there anywhere for K, A, F? There is in column 2, but if opponent's signalling that he's got a bingo, I don't really want to give him a lot of options. 11 minutes on my clock. Can I play through the R? Well, what about craft? 28 points, decent score. Given the vowel shortage, this is not a bad rack lead. The vowels will help to get rid of the V. I'm splitting up F, K, and V by playing off 2 of them. This isn't an easy play to play parallel to because it needs 2 vowels next to F and T, and there's a vowel shortage. So I am going with this. Wow, I draw a second V, but I think that's okay. And I draw an S for claw. So I could play vase. I could play visa, top right. Wow, nice. Well, opponent gets 50 points, but he burns the blank in order to achieve that. And I have an alternative spot for the V's down here. What about Vivos? Slightly doubtful about that. So I'm going to check it in the box rather than on the board. Not good. So do I play Vivas? There's only 1 O to come and there's a vowel shortage. And a nice thing about Vivas is that it's taking out a really hot lane. 29 points. But I'm leaving alone column 15, which although would need 2 vowels to play next to F and T, only requires 1 to go next to the T. But if I were to play in column 15, then I'd be opening a new lane in column 14. And I don't think I can play off both V's in column 15. I do still lead. So 29 points is going to give me a 50-point lead, which is pretty good. Yeah, Vivas is taking out column 11 as a bingo lane and also column 12 for bingos parallel to status, so I like this. Now I have youth in column 15, which will score well. Just a 48-point lead with a blank to come, so if opponent gets another bingo down, I could be likely to lose. Column 2 is a bingo lane for tiles hooking AI, but that will be a face value bingo. Jar takes nothing in front. Wow, opponent burning 3 E's and only 28 points. And look at the remaining vowels. I-O-W, a very unbingo-y set of tiles, and I lead by 20. 9 minutes on my clock. And I've got scoring tiles. So I don't need to hurry this. Yi for 31. Sado is good, as is Seed. But I can't extend that. Is there anywhere else good for my Y or my F? No, I don't think so. Vivas is nice because you've got to play through the I. So is ye the play? Interesting. So that's 31. What about doing this? 23. That's what I was thinking about. 24. But it's not really blocking anything. TE takes only an A, so the blank would have to be an A. So I'd be blocking anthill. Unlikely. I think I'll play this slowly and retain the F for score next turn. Ye for 31. Great, I draw the Z. That stops opponent from scoring with it. I could play Fizz through the I of Vivas. So the Z actually makes the remaining tiles slightly more bingo-y. TE takes a U in front, not just an A, and there are 2 U's to come. So there are bingos in the remaining tiles. But I have a 50-point lead, and I have the F and the Z for score, so I may be able to survive a bingo. Fizz would take out the U danger in column 13. But is there a big place? Just 3 tiles left, so actually Fizz works out really well. It scores well, it takes out a bingo lane, and it leaves 1 in the bag. I am going with this. And I draw vowels. And no scoring tiles, but I have a 50-point lead. And opponent empties the bag and has only got 6 tiles, so he can't bingo. So this should be my game. 7 minutes on my clock. Just mindful of the AI hook in case I have a bingo, but I don't. Is opponent going out next turn? He's got golden on his rack. He's got the blank. He may be going out. What can I do? So, can I get value from the Z? Well, just wondering if I can get value from the F and the Z. And I don't have a word, but it would need to look like this. And I don't think that works. So, do I play Vole for 25? No, because opponent then plays golden. If I play Volt, then I'm not going to go out with these tiles. So generally this doesn't feel like a good play. Just looking for any out bingos that I have that would play in column 14, but I'm not seeing one. What about playing outdo for 13? I can certainly go out with EL. Opponent can't go out. Yeah, and the best he can do is dong, which is going to be a long way from catching me. Yeah, well, I'm sure this isn't best, but it's very hard to find best plays on boards like this. Let me just pause. That's such a dismal score. And if I don't take this spot, if I play somewhere else, what's opponent going to do with the Z? Not very much. So what about playing outed? And then I'm retaining the option of playing vol. I'm going with this. 23 points for vol, and I can go out elsewhere with LO because I have low, lin, and OE. And I have a 50-point lead, so opponent is not going to catch me. But can he go out in one? Just looking at column 2, what goes in front of AI? Now, opponent could go out. Well, I was going to say that he had plonged on his rack with the blank as a P, but I don't think that plays anywhere. So I have vol to end the game. And the final score, 400 for my opponent, 456 for me, a winning margin of 56 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Quite close, but in the lead throughout, which is a nice place to be. So opponent to go fast plays Yamoon, which is great because I have a double-double in Ordained. Opponent plays Bahoot. And Doxy and Dexy. Well, Doxy would have been better, but very little between these rack leaves, and the O does go quite well with the B. I just have a natural preference for the E as a more bingo-y tile. And look at this, pretty grim rack, but a U, just the floater opponent needs for trumping. Now, if I'd played Doxy, I would have had Baronet. Yeah. But as it is, I don't have a bingo, and I play Noob. Opponent's rack plays Pieta. Now, did I miss something here? No, I didn't. Phew. And I play Saw for 22. Only 2 more points on offer, and I'm retaining 5 bingo-y tiles, so I like my play. Opponent plays Craig. And B10 Jarters. Quite nice, 45 points, but Jar, which is my play for 38, retains a very good 5-letter set, so is a better play. Opponent plays Carriole. And, well, there was a third anagram, Asterts, F10, and Dexies. Tasters, also making Dexies. I didn't really consider pluralizing Dexy. I was looking in at the top and bottom of column 11, so perhaps 1 point dropped there. Now, pretty grim rack for opponent, plays Claw. So just coming back, he did not have an S, he did not have a blank. And my rack, Troke, that's nice for 38, but it keeps F and V, which isn't good. So I play Craft for 10 fewer points, and I think that's worthwhile to split up the V and the F, especially with a shortage of vowels. Now, opponent's rack, he does now have the blank and burns it with cheese. Wow, he burned his blank for just 11 more points. I don't think that is optimal, given that especially as he's trailing. Now, my rack. And I play Vivas for 29, that looks fine. Opponent's rack, pretty awful, plays U. Wow, Foy, M7, where's that? Ah, because of Why Go. Yep, that would have been pretty handy. Instead, I play Yi for 31, only 10 fewer points, and I'm retaining the F for score next turn. Opponent plays Win. And I play Fizz for 30, which leaves 1 in the bag. But L8, Zuid, available for 50. Possibly worth doing. I would then have 6 tiles. Always tricky to know whether it's right to leave 1 in the bag, because it's a general rule. It's generally good to leave 1 in the bag, but of course on any given game it's a specific set of circumstances, so hard to know what is optimal. Now, look at this, opponent's rack. He's not far off a bingo, but there isn't one. Plays UH, and I'm just wondering if Fizz blocked a U bingo in column 13. Now, end of the game, my rack, voed out, that's nice. What do? I play outed for 13. Opponent's rack, no out, plays longs, and I have vol for 23. So, what a game. Great fun. I felt in the lead throughout, even though opponent got close at times, and towards the end of the game, the bag looked increasingly non-bingo-y, which very much worked to my advantage. So, many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.